of those two. And now back to the Rob, Anybody, and Dawn show.
We got this email, RAD@RADRadio.com. It's from Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
So during Jokes from the Maggots, we had the joke of the dad who wanted to bond with his stepson and said, hey, fun fact, we've both been inside your mom. And so Aaron, who's obviously a mom, wrote in and said, after hearing that joke, I realized that everyone who lives in my house has been inside of me. Right. All your children?
Yes.
Your husband?
Well, true. It's just maybe not something you say to a kid to bond with them.
We don't know how old the stepson is.
Is he 18?
And I remind you.
Otherwise, I'm not saying that to him.
And I remind you, it was a joke. Coming up at the top of the hour, if you're watching us on RADTV at members.radradio.com, you're going to get the Dogwoods Resort Canine Cam.
Oh, the big little puppies.
What's coming up, Kyle?
We're going to learn all about the Bull Mastiff breed today. So we got facts and history on the big old dogs called the Bull Mastiffs. My dad wanted to get one of these when we were a kid. We never got one. We settled on Jack Russell Terriers, but
that's
I
different.
imagine having a Bull Mastiff would have been way cooler.
One of these is not like the other.
Jordan from LMS Garage Doors is back with us. Last time he was here, we got a bunch of emails after he left and said, how in the world did you make talking about garage doors fun and interesting for 30 minutes? So we had to have him back. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you guys?
The canine cam triggered one question. We've talked about your 14 kids.
Yep.
Yep. I assume your wife's pregnant again.
No. No.
I didn't know you can install garage doors in shoes.
Right? What about dogs? Do you have dogs?
No, we don't have dogs. I've had dogs growing up. We had dogs, but I think we talked about this. Is my last dog that I had him from when I was 12 years old till I was 18, 19 years old. And that one messed me up when I had to go put him down. And I'm like, and then having 3,600 children, like I've already got enough responsibility. So then to come home and the wife already wants time away and then to have to clean up all that and whatnot. So we haven't got into it yet. The oldest is around and starting to ask more and more and more and more. So it's coming. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's not like you have nothing going on in your life. Running a company and your family and everything else. And
because they are like another child.
But 100%.
But they'll never grow up and they'll always need you. Eventually, your kids can make their own breakfast.
Right.
Not the dog.
Exactly. Yeah. And then to have to convince the other kids to do the work, I'm just down that.
Forget it.
And you can legally put dogs in cages.
Come on. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, just dogs.
Yeah. No other comment. Yeah.
That's right.
So what are the age ranges of your kids?
Let's see. We've got a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-month-old.
Whoa.
So Halloween's in 8 days. What's that look like?
Yeah, that's where my wife calls in and says, this is what's going on. No, we are going to Mimi and Pop Pop's house. There's a haunted house in the neighborhood, and we've already been to it a couple times, and they do a great job. So everybody gets dressed up. We go over there. The dogs dress up. Mimi and Pop Pop dress up, and we'll just, walk around the neighborhood.
Are you have a family theme of all of you, or just everyone's just whatever it is they want to be?
I think my oldest and I think Elijah and I are being T-Rexes. I think that's what we're doing together.
That'd be
and then I think my daughter's being, I don't know what my daughter's being, probably a princess or something like that. And then my 2-year-old wants to be Mr. Incredible. So
that is such a great dad answer. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm a dinosaur. My daughter might be a princess. I'm just going to show up.
I got to be there at 6. That's what I know.
That's all you know. The day ends at 6.
Are you getting one of the onesie costumes for the baby, or just nothing?
Again,
probably vomit on it,
my wife probably told me in passing, and I was like, sounds so good. Sounds so good.
So, Jordan, do you skim the top of the kids' candies when they're done at the end of the trick-or-treating? Do you go through the bags and go, that's my percentage?
I mean, I don't skim. We just say, like, this is tax,
Yeah, there you go.
But that just triggers something in my mind. But no, what we do is because no amount of, like, you've got 3 kids that are trick-or-treating, and they're cute. So people just pile it in.
Yeah.
So what we do is we're like, hey, give us the candy, and you guys can go pick out a toy. And they're like, let's go. So that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, you guys have your stash for the year.
What happens to the candy then?
It disappears. It hides in a really, really tall closet.
When you said the word tax, you said it triggered something?
So Elijah, my oldest, is really into, like, he's figuring out, like, I can do work, and therefore, like, that I can receive money for that.
Yeah.
So he's, like, mowing lawns. He asked Mimi and Pop Pop if he can mow their lawn, wash cars. And so he went and bought a set of Nerf guns this week with money that he earned. I was like, I'm not buying it for you. So he went and did it. And he goes, I brought the right amount of money. And he tells me, like, well, I think we were on the way to jiu-jitsu or something. He goes, Dad, there's a tax. Have you ever heard of tax? And I was like, I have, son. I have. And he goes, I brought the right amount of money. And they said it's more because of tax. What is this? I mean, he was distraught. And I was like,
That's amazing.
welcome to the club, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And he's the 7-year-old.
He's the 7-year-old.
And
yeah.
you mentioned jujitsu, and
Yep.
last time you were here, he's like world national
Yeah.
something
In the
champion.
world.
Yeah.
Has he had any more progressions? Any more?
He's got a
do they
big
call them
tournament.
matches.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got a big tournament coming up next week where him and his whole school are showing up pretty strong. There'll be about 60 kids there competing in the Stockton Arena. And then we're taking the rest of the year off, but then the next year, 2025, is going to be a big year for him.
Ugh.
My wife, his mom is trying to convince me to let him go to Portugal right now. So
What?
we'll see. Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
what's there that's exciting?
The
that would be
European,
good for him? Okay.
the European nationals. So
Oh,
he would
okay,
be
yeah.
ranked, like continue on the ranking, but then be able to compete in Europe and hold that title.
So that means like he would just go with a mentor, someone else. Like
he would
one
go
of
with
you-
me,
he'd go
yeah.
with
So
you,
me
okay.
or my wife, but
Yeah.
then there's 3 other children, and one of them's a
Oh,
tiny one. So it would
yeah.
most likely be me, and then
Yes.
his professor, his instructor would go.
This
with
is a rad kid
Oh.
thing because we have 10-year-old Lily,
Yeah.
who's the joke teller, who's off with her dojo in Japan, and her
so
mom.
cool,
He's so cool. What an experience.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's as much as it's fun to talk to you about your family.
Yes,
you know, it's,
all day long we could do that.
Jordan from LMS Garage Doors. So the infamous Christian,
Yes.
your brother. I assume he's breaking his back somewhere.
Yeah, he's in
while you're just sitting here in our air-conditioned studio.
That's right. That's right. Literally, as I text him, I was like, "You're at that spring job in the middle of nowhere." He's like, "Yes, I have the show on, and I'm working."
Oh, you allow him to listen to the show.
Sometimes, if he does a good job.
All right, on.
That's nice of you.
Oh man.
You had mentioned to me that is this recent that you guys like saw what you describe as the worst situation you've ever seen?
Yeah, when you get the call and I happen to answer it, I think I happen to answer this call and they're like, "Hey, I hit my garage door," and I said, "Okay, do you think you can can repair it?"
Was
I
it
was
a woman?
Stop it.
She said yes.
Okay.
She said yes. I hit my door, and can you come out and take a look at it and see if we can get it repaired? I was like, if it's not too bad, we can get it repaired. So of course, Christian goes out there and he pulls up and he goes, "There's no car outside, but I see the damaged door." And I go, "Okay, can you get it up?" And he's like, "Well, I just showed up. It's probably too bad. You're going to want to quote her out our new door. I'll go around and knock on the door and see where we're at." So he knocks on the door. She opens the door, and there's a Subaru in her kitchen.
Oh,
Kitchen.
oh.
That's not where it goes.
So,
Well, you don't know. It's their house.
It goes out
don't
back.
judge. Don't judge.
Is it outdoor kitchen?
It was now. So what ended up happening is
no.
class. I mean, I don't know classic, but went through the door and just kept going. And
Wait, what?
yep, went through the door and kept going.
Went
she
through the
thought-
garage door?
Through the
Went
garage
it.
door. Went through the garage door. Through the garage wall. And then so she got her garage door down to shut it, so I guess nobody could see. And Christian was like, "Why am I here?" I went out and looked at it and was like, "Nope, you got to replace your door." And just trying not to look at the Subaru in the middle of the wall.
Yeah, like that's who she calls is for the garage door.
Well, you got to secure it now a lot, right? Because now there's a giant hole in your house.
Smart, yes.
And obviously she was medically okay because that's what people are going to be wondering.
Yeah.
She was alert and fine.
Yes, I mean shook, really
Of
shook
course.
up. I mean, like you
Yes.
could tell, and we were able to. Luckily, the size we had it in stock, so I think we installed it the next day just to get it out. But it was like just total shell shock. Just get this done.
That is-
Don't look over there.
And
Wow,
did,
yeah, nothing
did,
to see here.
Did Christian at least get a little picture, a little cell phone
No.
of the Subaru? In the
He
kitchen?
goes, he goes, "What in the world did you just send me to? A light hit?" And then I got that. Yeah, it was awesome.
man.
Hey, now it's zoned for a drive-through coffee shop.
Come on.
Oh, that poor woman.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh. Oh no.
So that was I've never seen that before. I've never seen that.
Can you get this fixed before my husband gets home so you just won't know?
Well, it's
And-
Just
and
buff it out.
yeah.
after that, can you back the car into the spot?
Right. Well, and what was
Do
crazy
you
is
know a contractor?
it was like a alley driveway, so it wasn't like we warmed up and hit it running. Like you were in there and just kept going.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
Wow.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So not your typical call.
No, cars and walls is not for us.
What are your typical calls or service?
Service, yeah. And I would say at the beginning of the year, and a lot of what we've done is service. And now our new installs are kicking up, which is great. We love new installs. Starting to do a lot more commercial stuff. And then, but yeah, right now, this season that we're in, it's a lot of service.
Speaking of commercial, you helped Charlie from Black Dog Graphics out.
Yeah. And he emailed me this morning because I think a lot of the radvertisers are perfectionists, and so he asked us to come out there and do something, and I was just not thrilled with how, like, he wrote in the email, and it was super nice. He said, "Man, you guys did a great job, thank you," and I do appreciate it. But both Christian and I were like, "Man, this door should be running better than it is." So him and I have gone back and forth over email, but yeah, it was an awesome spot. I saw turkey brine, but I didn't know you guys were out of turkey brine, and so I should have asked him right then and there if I could have, like, he could have emailed somebody and said, like, "Hey, sorry, we lost your order," or somebody else got it.
Not sure what happened to it.
We might be able to get you some.
Oh, right.
We might know a guy.
Yeah.
There might be somewhere.
Yeah.
we can-
But he's super nice. Charlie is so nice.
Oh, he's so nice.
Well,
He
and
is.
because we didn't talk a lot last time about the commercial side of things, and we do have so many small businesses
Yes.
that listen, and you can literally turn a wall into a door,
Yep.
and things like that.
Without putting a Subaru through it.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's the easier way.
Yeah. Yep. No, we've done it at actually we've got another one coming up where we're gonna do something similar to what we did at Fire Up Esports Lounge, but it's going to be for a company that they're gonna put a big glass door in and have a patio for their workers. So
Fun.
we're working on that right
And
now.
that was going to be the question: is what are the reasons that a small business might be like? A lot of small businesses are like, why would I want a garage door? What is that going to do?
Access, but then also to have that vibe, the vibe of having the interior and the exterior being able to just walk through, and the doors are gorgeous, that full aluminum look with the glass panels. It just looks awesome.
Yeah, have you ever done any restaurants lately? Because I've noticed I've gone to a handful of restaurants and they'll have a lot of garage doors open for like nice days. They'll lift them up and stuff.
Yeah, we did. And I think I mentioned it last time. We did Moonraker, Cameron Park.
Oh, nice.
We've done a couple of those other ones where smaller venues where that just to have it to where it's wide open. And that's the first one that we ever did. Was where the building could literally be opened up and it's like an outdoor patio in the middle of summer.
Dang,
It's
yeah,
gorgeous.
that's cool.
We just got this email, rad@radradio.com from Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda.
Says, I've been meaning to send you this about LMS Garage Doors. I watch over my very elderly parents, and recently I left town for literally only 24 hours. My parents' garage door opener malfunctioned.
Oh.
They panicked and called another garage door company.
Boo.
$1,200 later,
Ew.
the door was not fixed.
Oh.
Upon my return, I found it was the opener because it said it right on the display. The other company did a bunch of unnecessary replacements and basically ripped my parents off big time. I called LMS for advice and talked to Jordan. He totally guided me in what to do, and thanks to him, I actually got half the money back.
Good.
He knew at the time there was nothing in this for him, but he was so gracious to help me with this issue. They have my business for life. Thank you, Jordan. You are few and far between in our world today.
Oh, that's
Damn,
nice.
dude.
Very
We've
nice.
talked about this. You work in a very unscrupulous industry.
Yeah.
And people don't like one of the things that we do right in our advertising is we don't think about our garage doors.
Yeah.
They're there, we use them. Sometimes they rattle and we don't think about it, and then you drive your Subaru through them and you go, oh, we gotta call Jordan. But because we don't think about like people think like, okay, auto mechanic's gonna screw me.
Yes.
That's a very common trope that's
yeah.
out there. But you don't really sit around and think about garage door people.
Yeah.
But that's a horrific story. Like literally, if I'm understanding her correctly, right on the display of the panel, it says the opener is the problem.
Yeah.
It needs a battery or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And somehow they turn that into $1,200.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And you see this a lot.
Multiple times a week. I'll get calls from people asking for even a second opinions, or the one that gets me is when they say like, can you tell me if I got screwed? And I'm like, and so they walk me through what happens. A lot of this I think about. So I was raised by a single mom, and my mom is probably listening right now, and she is
hi, Mom.
so gullible with this stuff.
Oh.
So like when I think about when I got into this industry, that's who I have in mind when I walk in the door. Is if I tell her your blinker fluid's out, your wheels are doing the, and so therefore you got to replace the whole system. My mom would believe a professional that walked in. So when we set up, when Christian and I set this up, when Alyssa talks, like we try to be as crystal clear as possible about things so people understand what they're getting and why we're doing what we're doing, because especially right now, everybody's hurting, industries are hurting, and so they want to get that ticket sale up, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to walk in there and say, oh yeah, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and a lot of them are based on commission. So the more that they sell, that's not a fixed price. So if you sell a set of springs for $2,000, $2,500,
Wow.
and if they sell it, they get that certain commission based on that. Christian does not.
What should a set of springs actually cost?
For us in the Sacramento area, and if garage door companies are listening, they're probably going to hate that I said this out loud. For us in the Sacramento area, if you live here, it's $375 installed.
Jeez.
That's quite a difference.
Yeah.
And it's all over the place. And that is our in the garage door world, that is the spectrum of things. Is that's for just a standard 2-car garage. Of course, if you have something custom, of course, if you have something commercial, something big, like there was a guy that called us the other day where he had 4 springs on his door. So obviously things change, but that is just our standard every day. I've got 4 of them today that are going in.
See, I know I'm much older than you, but I'm also wondering, like with your mom, like with my father-in-law, because he's probably way older than your mom, but like a generational thing, because he's not a dumb man by any means. I'm sure your mother is not at all, right? But there's this they believe what you say, because
100%.
that's where they come from. That's how they're raised.
Yep.
Your word is your word, and if you said it, it's true.
Yep.
You know, why would you lie? Because my father-in-law's not a liar, didn't raise his kids that way. Like so words absolutely matter to them. And so my father-in-law constantly, but they said this. I'm like, Pops, I know, and I wish we still lived in that time. I'm not sure we ever did, but there were more people like that, and there just aren't anymore. And people lie. They just lie to get money out of you. They're not being honest.
And you can scare them too, because garage doors, if that spring breaks and you're near it, they know how to sell it and make it scary to where it's like, listen, you're putting your car in danger, you're putting your kids in danger, things like that. This needs to be replaced, and you're like, it's just not the case. And with that one specifically, when she called me, I believe it was as simple as adjusting the sensor down at the bottom of the door. Yeah, and I mean, like, you can, once you're in, you can, you don't know. If you've never worked on a garage door, if you've never messed with it, you don't know.
And he's seeing these sweet little old people.
100%.
I'm gonna be able to sucker them. They're gonna believe. They're gonna look at me as their son, their grandson, whatever, and they're gonna believe it.
Yep. Especially if the neighborhood, you drive into that neighborhood, you go through that gated neighborhood, and then you're like, oh yeah, I can drive this ticket sale up, and it's like, geez, it's not good.
And of course, it happened the one day she leaves town.
Yes, right. Gosh.
We talked last time about the reason somebody might. There's nothing wrong with their garage door, might upgrade to a new garage door. There's curb appeal and resale value and other things like that. One of the other things, too, is avoiding getting to that point where you've driven your Subaru through the door.
Dang.
But the last time we talked, it was the middle of summer.
Right.
Well, Dawn's very happy that it's starting to get cooler.
Yeah, thank God.
And when you were here last time, there were like weather issues. Are there weather issues as it gets colder that people should be looking for? Or I mean, like, let me start with this.
Okay.
Is there a reason to just have you like most of us get our HVACs serviced twice a year, right?
Yep.
Should people preemptively?
Right, preemptively.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I mean, everybody's gonna go. Well, of course, he's gonna say yes.
Yeah. No. If you are not, what we say to people is, especially if you're getting a new garage door and you want to protect your investment, yearly, have us come out, spray it down. I had one. I had one this week where I had to show up. Thanks, Christian. Where I get out there and the doors, completely off track. One side's all the way down, and they were storing. This old couple was storing things near the front of the door, and so the shovel slowly fell in, and then as the door went down, it popped it all off track. Like there's things that because this is what we do every day, we're looking out for sounds, smells, sights. Where we're going, oh yeah, we need to fix this. So when you get a new garage door, we say yearly. Just give us a call yearly. We'll come out. We'll give you the discount. We'll spray it all down. We'll make sure springs are good. And that will make the door last longer. The longer you ignore it and then you call us out, we're like the Grim Reaper. Like, I can't tell you how many people we've walked out and we're like, this has been ignored for a long time. Here's the 3 things that are probably going to be going out. And lo and behold, within 3 to 6 months, boom, this went out, this went out, this went out. And so we give the option right then and there. We say, like, look, as long as it's not an emergency, we can come out and replace this when this breaks, i.e. springs. We can tell your springs are really, really, really old. I'm not saying that you should, but if you're like, I can't have my garage door down, sure, we'll replace them. But if you're like, no, you guys can fit me in 24 hours, great, we'll just do it then. So
You were describing me. It drives my husband bananas. Our garage is, it's where we store things now, for sure. No cars are in there at all. But I have started putting things closer to the garage door because it's giveaway. And he's like, is that ever going to leave the garage and get in your car to give to people that need it? And now I'm like trying to think, is there anything tall? Is there anything I'm putting there now that's going to do what you just said?
Right.
But like, it's you gravitate toward the garage door because you hope to eventually take it out of the garage. But I wasn't even thinking I could be blocking something at some point. I'm like, ooh.
What is the shelf life on a garage door?
Like you mentioned already, like back in the day, when those doors were built like tanks. And so in the modern door, if you don't take care of it, I would say you could get 10 years out of a door easy, as long as you don't hit it and you maintain it. If you hit it or you go really, really, really cheap,
because the reason I ask is somebody owns a home that maybe is 15 years old.
Right.
Maybe they've only owned it for 5 years. Well, for all we know, that's a 15-year-old garage door that's been ignored and is headed for LMS Garage Door call.
So what are some tricks to maintain your garage door? Do you just go out there with some WD-40 and go where the tracks are with the wheels and just make sure that it's smooth? And do you grease the springs up at all? Like, what do you do?
So what I tell people, and anytime this is our service, like I'll teach you how to do my job if you want to do it. So that way you're not calling me out, is if it makes a noise, except for the opener, but if it's onto the garage door and it squeaks, spray it down. Use a dry lubricant, use WD-40. Some guys don't like that, but it works. If it squeals, it squeaks. If you hear a spray it down. And you'd be surprised how far. Every hinge, every roller, every bearing, and most people don't know where those are, but yes, and on top of the springs, you spray the top of that coil down, will make it to where things are moving correctly.
Like you need to find those things. You can't just
spray. Just go on spray paint your whole door. No, maybe your car won't like it.
I think a lot of us just think, okay, the garage door is rattly. Is that like
that is a thing? Yeah, it is rattly. Like if it's a super light door, if it's they're rattly. But there is, again, it's hard to explain. But like when it's doing that, all that stuff, or the like there's things like that where you ignore it, it's a roller that's going out, which will cause the door to jump off track or something like that.
So back to the colder weather, what happens? What should people be looking for? What would you come out and do?
Right now, springs are breaking, and they will continue to break for the rest of the cold season. Is the springs that are 10, 12, 15 years old, what you'll see is either you'll hear the loud bang, or you'll come up in the morning, in the afternoon, and the door will go up 1 foot and then go back down, and then go back down. And then so you'll pull the release cable and you'll go to lift it and it weighs a bazillion pounds. You'll look at the top and you'll see a broken spring. That's happening a lot right now. And then openers that are old, those are starting to wear out. So the cold weather, motors, electronics don't like really, really, really cold. And so it'll struggle to pull it up. So a service we can turn those things up, or we have to replace an opener.
We got this email from Andrea.
Hey, Andrea.
She says, I technically live in Nevada, but I'm right on the border, literally next to border town. Could you come service my garage door, or do I have to call someone else? I even will mention a tip. And
there you go.
You can bring your 18 kids. I've got a big yard.
Christian's, Christian will go anywhere.
You guys, okay.
He's like, what? He's hearing that.
His wife's gonna kill me today.
Well, you do have a couple of rad customers in Tahoe, right?
Oh yeah, yep. We're doing actually we're doing a couple of awesome doors in December if everything lands correctly. So yeah, we go to Tahoe. We go all over the place. But yeah, give us a call.
Sharon says, my garage door was here when I bought my house 20 years ago. It's not pretty and it's not quiet, but we do lube it up occasionally, and it's doing just okay. WD-40 for the win.
That's right. And even then, it's like if it's too rattly, if you look at your rollers and they're not rolling, we can come out, swap the rollers out. It'll get keep getting more life down the road.
We were talking actually just yesterday. I think we were talking about. I work with various small businesses, and it came up because kids think you're old if you have stamps.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, Well, there are still some small businesses that only take payment by check. That's it.
Damn.
It's just as you know, it costs money to have credit cards, receptacles, and things like that. And so they're like, just pay me by check. Are you one of those companies?
We take everything. So credit cards, checks, cash, and then even for like some of these bigger ticket items, we do Venmo, not Venmo.
Apple Pay?
Zelle.
Oh, Zelle.
Zelle. Yeah, so that way you can.
Zelle.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love
And
Zelle.
I'm an old soul. So like
Yeah.
my wife was like, why haven't you set up Zelle yet? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is Zelle?
Okay.
So you
High
don't.
five
So
her.
Alyssa did it.
Love Zelle. Thank you, Alyssa.
So you don't take Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, not yet.
By the way, are you still doing 10% off any service or $250 off any new garage door?
Yep. And so we're really proactive with that. And please, Rad Maggots, tell us that you are a rad person. Tell us that you are a maggot, because we'll find out, and then someone will say like, I forgot to tell you my wife listens to Rad Radio. And we're like, we got a discount for you. So make sure mention it. Tell Christian, he loves it.
And there is a difference, obviously, but people get confused because they're like, I don't know, it's just a garage, just press your button, the door goes up, between service and install.
Yes. So with the services like the springs, going out there and lubricating, going out there and fixing, emergency service, things like that, we give the 10% off. If you get a new garage door, that's where we give the $250 off.
Damn.
Don mentioned
That's
that
nice.
horrible app, the Nextdoor app that we all use. But I would assume that somebody like Rhonda, who wrote in, it's probably helpful if they use the Nextdoor app or Facebook groups, things like that, to just spread the word.
Yes, that is so helpful, because that's where a lot of people go. They go to those community pages to figure out who's everybody using.
Yeah.
And so we've had people say, hey, someone said they heard you on the radio, and so we gave you a shot, and they said it on Facebook or they said it on Nextdoor or something like that. So yeah, thank you guys that have done that. And if you guys would continue to do that, we would be so appreciative.
It is true. Like, we don't have a tire guy as our advertiser, so I found a tire guy from Nextdoor. I mean, there were so many people, and the ratings were amazing, and then my experience was also extremely amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is something
I mean,
to go.
obviously, the premier place is Circles with an
Yes,
S.
tried
right.
that. I did.
That's where and that everybody should be putting LMS into their Circles account as well.
course.
All right, anything else?
No, that's thank you guys so much. Like, it's been amazing, and you guys have been keeping us really, really busy, and we appreciate it.
That's outstanding. Thank you, man. That's Jordan from LMS Garage Doors. You can find him on the Radvertiser page at radradio.com.